I'm at 64 Josh, and this is part 2 in our Splatoon 2 guide. We've already looked at Turf War. This time, we're looking at Splatzones. I've got Ninja Yoshi with me. He's rank X. He knows what's going on. How are you, man?
I'm good. Glad to be back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We're gonna dive right in. Take it away with Splatzones.
Great. So Splatzones is, at least among pro players, probably the more preferred of the ranked battles. It's probably because it's pretty similar to Turf War, but you need to play more aggressively. Also, unlike other ranked modes, the objective is stationed. So it's always going to be in one place. So any sort of combination of good turf covering and aggressive weapons work really great in this mode.
Okay, and the first weapon you recommend?
I think it's your favorite, Josh, the NZAP 85. Is very popular in rank. I've seen it pretty often. It's actually the weapon I use to get up to S plus area. Has really great fire rate and accuracy. It can cover the zone really well on its own, and it can get its special. Well, it used to get its special pretty quickly, but it got nerfed a while back. So now it takes 210p for special because of this. But it has suction bomb and ink armor, and I'm going to go to in a bit just kind of why that combination works well.
I gotcha. What abilities do you recommend running with the NZAP 85?
So the NZAP is a light weapon, so you're going to be strafing and moving a lot. So a combination of run speed, swim speed, and ink resistance are going to help with that mobility and just staying alive. Special charge up is pretty much now necessary due to the 210p nerf. So make sure you have at least a main of that. Comeback is also pretty good considering that NZAPs get splatted a lot because they tend to just kind of push themselves in the middle of things. I know I've done it with it before. So just being able to get comeback slightly stronger helps.
All right. And then lastly for the NZAP, let's talk tactics.
So the NZAP is probably one of the more aggressive turf coverer weapons due to the ink armor, since it will allow you and your team to defend and push forward to the zone with some sort of defense. So if you have control of the zone, use the ink armor. So if the enemy tries to get back, you at least have some sort of defense, and then the other way around. So if the enemy is taking over the zone and they're kind of hovering around it, being able to get that ink armor will allow your teammates to, push them back a little bit. Thing with NZAP is you do want to try to stay alive as much as possible in order for you to keep getting those specials, because if you kept getting splatted, then you're just going to reset your gauge, and that's not really going to help, which is why comeback actually works here, because you get your special quicker. Comeback activates, I don't know how much exactly, but it activates a special charge after you get splatted, so that's going to help at least to come back into the nick of things. A lot of weapons do outrange the NZAP, so you want to use the speed in order to close the gap to kind of just try to weave your way around other longer range weapons. And overall, it's a pretty good weapon to turf that zone.
Okay, and we want to cover 2 weapons per episode here. So then what's the next weapon you have for us?
The other one is another personal favorite for Splatzone, is the Splatter Shop Pro. It may not be the best at covering turf. It does have a slightly lower fire rate than the NZAP, but it has longer range. It's accurate. It's very accurate, and it can kill pretty fast. The Ink Storm helps a lot with turf covering, and because you just throw that Ink Storm on there and just let it do its thing. And it also only takes, I think, 170p for it, so it doesn't take as much time to get that special compared to the NZAP.
And as far as abilities with the Splatter Shop Pro, what do you recommend?
So the Splatter Shop Pro is known for being pretty ink heavy. Has pretty high ink consumption. So a combination of ink saving abilities like Ink Saver or Ink Main, depending on how often you use your point sensor, and ink recovery work pretty well. The special charge up for that Ink Storm, even though it only takes 170p, so it's kind of up to your preference how often you want to get that. But the ability I want to highlight here is a sub power up for that point sensor in order to keep track of enemies for a longer time. And I'm going to kind of get to as to why that's helpful.
Yeah, so let's just dive into the tactics then.
Okay, so like I said, point sensors. Use those as often as possible. And the first Splatoon, Echolocator was fair, which was a special that allowed you to track everyone on the team, was very popular in Splatzones because tracking your opponent can be very important to know where they're coming from, if someone's trying to flank, someone's coming behind you. So just point sensors as much as possible, especially that sub power up will allow you to increase the time that you're tracking someone. This also obviously helps your teammates too, because they can actually see where the enemy is as well. Inkstorm helps to keep the enemy out of the zone or to push them back. So if you and your opponents are fighting together to try to get that zone, that Inkstorm is going to help put the droplets on the zone to kind of help with your ink to kind of work together with that. And also, the enemies are going to want to get out of the way of that Inkstorm. So putting it on the zone, like either, you're going to stay in the zone or they're going to try to push out. So you can kind of coordinate where they're going to move. And then just to keep the enemy at bay with the range of the weapon. So kind of just, because Splatzones is a stationary mode, just picking a spot and just trying to shoot people from far, it's going to be really helpful to try to keep them away from the zone, essentially.
I got you. Well, hey, thank you very much for taking the time to do this. This episode, we covered Splatzones. Next episode, we're going to be covering tower control. If you have any questions or comments, let us know down in the comment section of this video. Remember, like and subscribe if you're enjoying this. And before we go, real quick, where can people find you online?
Yeah, so I do have a Twitch channel, Ninja Yoshi _13. I am hoping to stream soon, hopefully by this summer, so you can catch me there.
All right, and I will have a link for that in the description. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys in the next episode.